Welcome to Max Premieres. Today I'm bringing you 10 movies that are already available and absolutely worth your time. This is not a ranking from worst to best. The films are ordered chronologically by release date, from earliest to most recent. From thrillers that will keep you at the edge of your seat to more personal films that will stay with you for days, there's something here for everyone. As always, everything you see here is my personal and honest opinion. Sometimes I'll say great things, and sometimes I'll point out what didn't work, and that's exactly what makes this worth watching. But before we begin, it would mean a lot to me if you took a moment to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for your kind support. Number 10. My Sister's Bones. A seasoned war correspondent returns to her childhood home carrying the kind of trauma that makes sleep feel like a luxury. Kate has spent years documenting devastation on front lines, and those images follow her everywhere she goes. Her mother's death forces a reunion with her sister Sally that nobody truly wanted. Years of cold silences and unresolved grudges sit between them like furniture nobody dares move. Sally sees Kate as someone who always chose her career over family, and she has her own struggles, a marriage falling quietly apart, and a daughter who barely speaks to her anymore. What turns this family drama into something darker is what Kate starts noticing in the house next door. Her journalist instincts refuse to quiet down, even as everyone around her insists her suspicions are just stress and exhaustion catching up with her. The film is strongest when it portrays two sisters who grew up in the same house and became complete strangers. The performances carry that estrangement with real conviction. The third act leans a bit predictable, but if you enjoy domestic thrillers where family history and genuine menace blur together, this one has enough going on to reward your attention. Number 9. Friendship. Craig is the kind of suburban dad who has everything on paper: steady job, house, family, but no real friends. When Austin moves in next door, a charming weatherman who seems effortlessly magnetic, something in Craig lights up. The chance at a genuine adult male friendship, the kind most men quietly grieve losing after 30. What makes Andrew DeYoung's comedy so cringingly funny is the intensity Craig pours into the pursuit. This is not a normal bromance, it is something closer to an obsession, and Austin is clearly not feeling the same electricity. As Craig starts showing up uninvited, misreading signals, and losing all sense of proportion, the film becomes a surprisingly honest portrait of adult loneliness and the emotional isolation many men carry around without ever naming it. Tim Robinson is painfully good in the lead role, and Paul Rudd delivers exactly the effortless charm the character demands. Some moments land because they are absurd, others hit because they feel uncomfortably true. A 90% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is not an accident. Few comedies this year said something this real while making you laugh this hard. Number 8. Thrash. A Category 5 hurricane tears through the coastal town of Annieville in a matter of hours. Streets vanish underwater, power goes dark, and whoever failed to evacuate gets stranded wherever the storm caught them. A heavily pregnant woman on her way to work, a truck driver who decided on one last run, a young woman grieving her mother who ignored the warnings. Director Tommy Wirkola, who gave us Violent Night, knows exactly how to turn a disaster scenario into an adrenaline machine. The catch is that the floodwaters didn't arrive alone. The storm surge swept sharks in from the ocean, and now survivors must navigate between buildings with predators circling in the murky water. The film is completely aware of what it is, and that self-awareness is part of its appeal. Around 90 minutes of pure survival, with a pace that never lets you breathe and enough genuine threat to keep your pulse elevated. Critics are split, but audiences have embraced it for exactly what it delivers: straightforward entertainment with no pretensions and real sharks in the streets. Number 7. Outcome. Reef Hawk is the kind of Hollywood star who built an entire career on being the good guy. Decades of flawless press, charming interviews, and a personal brand that felt almost too clean. When someone surfaces with compromising footage from his past that threatens to destroy everything, Reef is forced to do the one thing he has avoided for years: actually face the people he wronged. Jonah Hill directed and wrote the film and also appears alongside Keanu Reeves, Cameron Diaz, and Matt Bomer. The concept has real potential. A man who structured his whole life around public perception being pushed into a genuine apology tour is rich territory. The trouble is, the film doesn't always know what to do with that material. Some scenes land sharp and funny, others feel unfocused. What works consistently is Reeves, delivering something unusually introspective and quietly affecting in ways his usual action roles don't demand. Critics were divided, but if you enjoy films that dig into celebrity culture and the machinery of self-image, there is enough substance here to make it worth your time. Number 6. The Bride. Chicago, 1930. Frankenstein's creature arrives in the city with a single request: someone to create a companion for him. The brilliant scientist Euphronius agrees, and together they bring back a murdered young woman. When the bride wakes up, she has no memory of her previous life. What no one realizes is that this woman, Ida, had been actively investigating a series of crimes against women before she was killed. Maggie Gyllenhaal directs and writes this Frankenstein retelling with a style that mixes gothic horror, 1930s noir, and an uncommonly punk energy. Jessie Buckley is extraordinary in the central role, and Christian Bale underwent a complete physical transformation for the monster. The film's formal ambition doesn't always hold together, and the $80 million budget shows more in the visuals than in the storytelling. The box office was disappointing, but serious critics praised it as a bold and genuine artistic gamble. If classic mythology revisited through a sharp contemporary lens is your thing, this one has more layers than its commercial reception suggests. Number 5. The Super Mario Galaxy Movie. The first Mario Bros. Film crossed $1.3 billion in 2023 and became one of the most unexpected animation phenomena in years. This follow-up expands the universe into space, sending Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, and Yoshi on a cosmic adventure centered on rescuing Princess Rosalina and facing Bowser's son. Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic return to direct, and the original voice cast is back in full: Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, and Jack Black. Donald Glover joins as Yoshi, along with new characters that fans are already dissecting with the usual passion about whether the adaptation does them justice. Critics were cooler than on the original, landing at 43% on Rotten Tomatoes compared to the predecessor's 59%. But audiences showed up in force, pushing the film to $830 million worldwide. What it delivers is exactly what the franchise always promises: fast action, vivid colors, beloved characters in fresh situations. For Nintendo fans and anyone looking for a genuinely fun family experience at the movies, this hits all the marks. Number 4. Ready or Not 2. Here I Come. Grace survived the longest night of her life in the original film: the wrong wedding, a deadly game, and a sunrise she barely lived to see. The sequel picks up right where everything ended. Grace discovers her victory carries a real price. 4 elite families are now hunting her to claim a seat of absolute power, and her sister Faith is caught in the crossfire too. Directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett return with the same gonzo horror comedy energy that made the first film such a visceral ride. Samara Weaving is back in the lead, and Kathryn Newton joins as the sister. The cast also includes Sarah Michelle Gellar, Elijah Wood, and David Cronenberg in a cameo that became one of the most talked about moments online after the film's release. 90% critic approval, 90% audience approval, $42 million at the box office against a $14 million budget, a genuine win. It doesn't reinvent anything, but it expands the original's world with enough energy and carnage to leave fans completely satisfied. Number 3. Avatar: Fire and Ash. Jake Sully and Neytiri have spent years building a life together on Pandora. The first film placed them at the center of a war between humanity and the planet. The second took them to sea with the Metkayina clan. Now James Cameron delivers the third chapter, opening with the Sully family facing a devastating personal loss and a dangerous new enemy, the Mangquan, a warlike clan led by the fierce shaman Varong, who has rejected Eywa and everything the Na'vi hold sacred. Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, and Stephen Lang are all back, with Una Chaplin joining the cast. The film crossed $1.49 billion worldwide, confirming that audiences remain deeply committed to this world. Cameron shoots with a visual authority that few directors today can match, though critics continue to identify the screenplay as the franchise's persistent weakness. At nearly 3 hours and 15 minutes, built around grief, hope, and family survival, This is the darkest and most emotionally ambitious entry in the trilogy so far. Number 2. The Sun Rises on Us All. A man spent 5 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. He did it out of love, to protect the woman he cared about and give her the chance to start fresh. She disappeared from his life, and he spent years living with the weight of that choice. When time passes and the two cross paths unexpectedly, neither one is ready for what that encounter stirs up. Chinese director Kai Shang-jun, who won the Silver Lion at Venice in 2011, returns with a film that competed in Venice and premiered in Toronto. Shin Zile, who took home the festival's Best Actress prize, carries the film almost entirely on her own, in a performance that communicates everything without ever saying too much. Jang Songwen joins her in what becomes a two-person portrait of people who know each other better than anyone and still don't know how to exist in the same space. This is a slow film by nature, one that demands patience and full attention. What it offers in return is an honest reckoning with guilt, sacrifice, and everything that remains when time wasn't enough to heal the damage between two people. Number 1. Project Hail Mary. Ryland Grace, a middle school science teacher, wakes up on a spacecraft with no idea how he got there, 2 dead crewmates beside him, and absolutely no memory of anything. As the recollections slowly return, Ryland Grace pieces together what is at stake. The sun is dying, consumed by microorganisms that feed on stellar energy, and he is the only person left who can find a solution. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller adapted Andy Weir's novel with Ryan Gosling in the lead, and the result is one of the most unexpected cinematic phenomena of 2026. $657 million at the box office. 94% from critics, 95% audience approval. What makes the film work beyond the visual scale is the relationship Grace builds with a being from another civilization facing the exact same catastrophe. 2 completely different creatures learning to communicate to save their respective worlds. Gosling delivers a performance with far more depth than his action roles suggest, layered with humor, genuine vulnerability, and stubborn hope that make the emotional journey just as powerful as the scientific one. This is the most compelling reason to go to the cinema that we have had in a very long time. And that wraps up today's list. I hope you find something that catches your attention among these 10 films, whether for a night at home or to catch up on what you've been missing. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next videos. Your comments are always welcome. Until next time.